We have Dr. Michael Savage back on the line, host of the Michael Savage podcast, author of the book, Our Fight for America, The War Continues. Dr. Savage, thanks for joining us tonight. We want to get right to our first question. How much of an effect would this story, this Hunter Biden laptop story, how much of an effect would have it had on the 2020 election if this came out October of 2020?
Mike, the disinformation campaign from the Biden gang continues. It continues with regard to the Ukraine war. It continues with regard to the video conference that President Biden just had with Chairman Xi, or President Xi, in China, which is so utterly important, but it's a continuation of this propaganda campaign, Mike. Now, people say, well, laptop, it's old news. What does it really say? What's in it? What do I care about it? Has it affect me? I wouldn't have cared one way or the other. We could talk about that from today until kingdom come, about what they would have done had they known. What it said was there were deep connections between Hunter Biden and the Russian oligarchs themselves, that they're now pretending to be their worst enemies. Burisma, after all, was owned by a Russian oligarch. So now we come to today. We have a war raging on the cusp of World War III, we hope not, 3 million people on the run. And finally, Biden has a video conference with Chairman Xi of China trying to convince him not to work with Russia. And we didn't learn what happened in that meeting. It was completely covered up, both by Jen Psaki and the liars in his administration, but worse, by the wolf blitzers and the Jake tappers in our media. But I got the information. There's a great story, Mike, and I don't know how much time you have for this, but the meeting between Xi and Biden was a disaster for the United States of America. And this was reported by John Hayward in Breitbart. The White House did not produce a readout of the video call between Biden and Xi. But the Chinese Foreign Ministry produced a very detailed account of that call. And basically what Xi said to Biden was, we're not going to help you with Ukraine. It's your mess that you created. There's a great line, which is that it's a Chinese phrase that he uses all the time, is that if you put a bell on a tiger, it's your job to take the bell off the tiger. And he said, it's your mess in Ukraine, not ours, number one. But most importantly, with regard to what we're talking about now, Xi implied the U.S. and NATO bear responsibility in part for sparking the Russia-Ukraine conflict, as I said. But he also said, stay out of Taiwan. And Biden, this is very important. Biden said, we've not changed our position on Taiwan. We don't believe it's part of, we don't believe that it should be separated as it is from China. That's what Biden said, according to this. This is a shocker, by the way. In other words, he threw Taiwan to the wolves. This is a huge story.
And we haven't changed
into what you.
And we haven't changed our Taiwan policy. That's what Biden said. Dr. Savage, I want to get you on the record on this. We just asked Jenna Ellis. The U.S. has only accepted 7 Ukrainian refugees since this war began, and some have been detained by immigration and customs enforcement. At the same time, our southern border is wide open. How do you square that?
How do I square it? How do they square it, Mike? I did a show on Newsmax, I think last Saturday, where I said we should take in many, 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 many Ukrainian refugees. So they say, well, aren't you a hypocrite? You're opposed to illegal immigration coming from the southern border. I said, it's apples and oranges. Most Ukrainians are trilingual. They speak Ukrainian, they speak Russian, they speak English. Moreover, most of the people who are refugees are professional women, by the way. Now, as nice as some of the people are coming over the southern border, they are illiterate in their own language. 95% of them cannot read or write Spanish. They are the lowest strata of the societies they are fleeing. El Salvador, Guatemala, Nicaragua. The reason they're fleeing is they have no known skills. So their own countries are forcing them out because they're illiterate. They have no skills that their own countries need. So what do we need them for? As good as they are as human beings, some of them are great people. Believe me, I mean that from the bottom of my soul. But the fact is we can't take the whole world in. Our lifeboat is sinking. So if you have to decide which people to take in, take those who can speak English, take those who have a skill that we might be able to use, and take those who will blend into the American society in a more fundamental way than those who will never blend into our society. Yeah. That's my position. And we should take in 100,000 refugees from Ukraine, because we can always ask them to leave once this war is over and once the country is, stabilized again.
Yeah. Dr. Savage, really appreciate your time tonight. Host of the Michael Savage podcast. Thank you so much, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Mike.